Hi everyone, I'm going to step outside my comfort zone today and try out some new techniques. Well, some techniques that I know I should do, but I don't do them often. And then some techniques that are brand new to me that I've seen online that I really am excited to try out. Thank you for spending your time with me today. If you haven't met me before, my name is Rachel and I'm fairly new to posting YouTube quilting videos. However, I have been quilting my whole life. I made my first quilt for Samantha, my American Girl doll, when I was just 10. So I have been quilting for about 30 years. I'm really excited that you joined me here today, and this should be interesting for both of us. We'll both learn something new, so I'm really excited about that. So today I've decided to finish off a UFO, an unfinished object. This is hand-pieced hexagon table runner. I think I started this during lockdown in COVID when I had plenty of time. I had the ridiculous idea that I would make a full-sized quilt. What was I thinking? This is enough. This is enough. Well done to those of you that do full-sized quilt. I think it would make a really nice table runner for here. Rectangular, I would cut it to size. So some of the techniques I'm going to try today, I'm going to quilt it and bury my threads. So often I just trim them off and I think that's not coming undone, fine, whatever. But I'm going to do it properly and bury my threads today. I might even try traveling from block to block without cutting the thread. So I'm going to try that. The other thing I'm going to try is a new binding technique. So the first thing is to remove all the paper because I've still got paper in here. I'm going to sandwich it and pin it ready. This is going to be my back fabric. That will make a really nice back. It'll be reversible and I'll probably do the binding in that as well. So I'll do all that first and then we'll reconvene. To quilt this, I want to use a variegated thread. I have quite a few. I was tossing up mainly between this variegated pink and I have like one that has navy and blue. But I think the pink will be best. And I'm going to use the pink on the back as well. So I'll thread up my machine with the pink. The last few quilts that I have made, I have purposely chosen to do a walking foot straight stitch from edge to edge to avoid having to start and stop within the middle of my quilt and avoid this step. So what you should be doing is tying off your threads and burying them. So this is something that I have done in the past, but not recently. So this is why I'm gonna give it a go again. My plan for quilting this is to do a 1/4 inch shadowing around each hexagon, which could take a very long time. But anyway, that's what I've chosen to do. Quilting is a process, not a result. Just keep reminding yourself that. So holding on to my top thread, I'm dropping the needle and picking it back up, giving my thread a tug to get the bobbin thread to the top. Okay, and dropping the needle again. Oh, foot down. Okay, so we're doing a 1/4 inch all around our hexagon. Well, this looks like a little bit less than 1/4 inch. I'm just following, I've got a clear part in the front of my walking foot and I'm just lining it up with the edge of that. So as long as it's the same all the way around, it won't really matter what size it is. always picking up the foot but having the needle down to rotate. Making sure my threads are out of the way of my stitching. I'm going to overlap by 2 or 3 stitches. Okay, needle up and drag out so you have enough thread on the top and the bottom. I'm just reaching under there to cut the bottom thread. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got the 2 tails of our top. To get the tail out from the bottom, you can tug on the top thread and a loop has come through. I'm going to get my needle and pull that bobbin thread out. So now I have 2 threads on the end part and 2 threads from the start of my stitching. I'm going to tie them in a double knot first. The filming stopped for some reason as I was tying those knots. So here we are on a different one. The knots are tied, so I'm going to thread the needle and take it down right where the knot is. Go along inside the quilt but not through to the back. Go across about an inch and pull it out. So now the thread is going through the quilt and out this side. And I do that for all 4. Put my hand underneath just to feel and make sure I'm not going through to the back. Pulling it through. That's 2 done. Once all your threads are through, you just tug at them and snip them. Beautiful. So I ended up quilting on and off for about 3 days. I managed to listen to the whole of The Great Gatsby on audiobook, and that was 5.5 hours, plus watching some telly, and I started another audiobook. So I think I quilted this for about 10 hours. In this little shot, I am having a try at traveling without cutting my threads. So as you can see, I lift the foot and I take it over to another hexagon. I needed to make sure I took it far enough to have enough thread to cut in between, in the middle of the thread, and still have enough to tie off and bury. I have to say I didn't really like doing this, and I didn't do a whole lot of it. I mostly just did 1 hexagon at a time, sewed it and tied it in one go. So this video is of me sewing in fast motion. I just loved these colours. It was so nice to work with this fabric, and every hexagon I did, as it got flatter and flatter, I just loved that look and feel of a quilt. So it was really lovely to work with. But I wanted to show that as I went on, I got lazy and stopped actually tying a knot. What I just did is just buried them directly. I felt that this gave a neater finish, and it is a step up on just clipping them and not burying the threads at all. So I would like to hear from you guys. Am I wrong to not knock them off, or is it being lazy, or will it be fine? I'd love some feedback on that, actually. Give me a comment below. But it just saves so much time and it looks neater, so I stopped doing the knots. Okay, time to trim it all up, and then I quilted around the hexagons on the sides. I left these to the end because I knew I wouldn't have to bury threads on the edge hexagons, so I just wait till I cut it, and then here I am going around and sewing the last of the hexagon. The quilting is all complete and it looks really good. I'm really happy with it. The last thing to do is put the binding on, which I'm using a new technique that I found online, and I think there's actually 3 things different about this technique that I don't usually do. So it'll be really cool to try, and I'll talk you through those 3 things as I do them. The first thing that's different with this binding is that I'm not going to attach it to the front first like I usually do. It will be attached to the back. And when I've made the binding and ironed it, I ironed a triangle piece down before ironing it in half. And that's going to be attached first. 1/4 inch seam. Stopping once you've gotten about 1 inch or 1.5 inches down from that triangle. Now close up your binding. If you want to know how I make the binding, I will link to another video where I explain that. Okay, then I'm going to leave 1.5 inches from that top and start sewing down here. And sew the whole way round like usual. When you get to the edge, the corner, you actually stop 1/4 inch. Sew backwards a little bit. Okay. I push my binding backwards. So we have a right angle there, and then you fold it straight forwards. Okay, and start sewing again. Okay, I'm coming up to the start. Here's my triangle flip, see? So I'm going to get my scissors, and I'm just going to, it's going to be encased within here. So as long as I cut it, I'll cut it at the same angle. And I just open up that, pop that inside. Oh, cute, put it to bed. And continue sewing up the gap. was very easy. Okay. So when I fold it over, it's not sewn there, but I guess it's held in place. Okay, the next thing that is going to be different than what I usually do is I usually hand sew the binding down on my quilts. But this time, because this is just a table runner, I'm just going to do a top stitch. Okay. All right, well, might have been easy, but I'm not loving that open seam, I have to say. So, yes, it was quick, fine for a table runner perhaps. I wouldn't like to do that. This method for a quilt, or that join at least. All right, needle down, I'm just going to do a top stitch along the edge. So as I sew, I'm going to be grabbing it from the back, pulling it around to the front, and sewing along the top there. When you get to the corner, you just have to carefully fold up one side then the other, creating that nice mitered look, and sew carefully until you can hook the needle onto the lower binding, and then you can lift the foot and turn. You just have to be careful not to get your fingers sewn. And my UFO is now complete. I'm really happy with it. It's gorgeous, colourful, fun, and I learned some new techniques. I hope you did as well. Please leave a comment. Some advice for me would be greatly appreciated. What did I do wrong? What should I be doing better? And let me know if you're going to try some of these techniques. I'm off to eat my dinner. I will see you next time.